Yes.
Go. There we go.
Okay. Now I gotta find my right screen. The recording is in progress. That's not actually the screen you want, but oh man, hold on. Now that we're recording, I need to like really get it together. Okay, I'm ready now. Welcome to Engaging Where We Are, community partnerships that promote family engagement and outreach. I'm Sarah Saxton. I'm the Youth Services Librarian at Wasilla Public Library, and I'm really, really pleased to be here with you today. A lot of thought went into what kind of a training would be the most beneficial at this time. What kind of a training is going to help us really regroup and recollect ourselves and feel ready for whatever is coming next. And so please feel free to chime in with questions at any time. If you're watching this later on the recording, email me. I would love to hear from you. One of the things that I've missed the most is being able to connect with each of you in a personal way through conferences and by email and things like that. I love our community of children's librarians around the state. We are great. And so please always reach out. I love hearing from you, and all of my connection and contact information will be at the end of the presentation, but I believe it'll also be on the website for the workshop. So having said that, I believe I am ready to share my screen now when I was not before, but I am now. So here we go. And we are going to go right into present. Yes, I do. I want to present it. Here we are. So, as I said, this is Engaging Where We Are, community partnerships that promote family engagement and outreach. I'm Sarah. I did include my loves here on my introduction screen. I thought about it later. I was like, does that mean I get to include my dislikes as well? But that went a little too far. A, I had to really think about what I actively dislike. But B, really, the important things you need to know are that I really love being crafty. I love music. I think my cats are great, and I like to travel. In our session today, just to give you kind of a little bit of background, we're going to talk about kind of how basically everything closing down impacted us here at Wasilla Public Library, and how we managed to regroup and recollect ourselves and move forward. So main objectives are kind of how do we identify our programming goals? Where do we locate those community partners? And then we'll have some time to kind of talk about generating ideas for summer reading of 2022. So Wasilla Public Library, PC, pre-COVID. At the library at that time, we were doing 5 or more storytime programs a week for more than 300 people. And I was a department with really just a couple of people. And so literally all of our energy went into storytime and preschool groups. We did very little to reach out to older kids. We weren't necessarily engaging with the community or even reaching out all that much. And so because we were so actively engaged trying to meet the needs of the people that were there, we were trying to provide awesome storytime programs. We didn't have a lot of energy for anything else, which I think you'll agree is really not the healthiest approach to youth services that's designed for 0 to 18s. And so COVID really, being forced to actively stop providing storytime was a really big deal. And so that was when we were kind of forced to kind of look at what we were doing, transition, change, and adapt. Our normal channels of engagement, which was in person, was no longer available to us. At the time, we weren't doing any promotion in the community because we couldn't handle more people coming into a program that was already overcrowded. We weren't putting anything in the newspaper. We weren't active on social media. We weren't putting ourselves out there at all because we already had more than we could handle. And so when everything closed, that really kind of became the end of it. And we were forced to really step back, kind of cut off from that regular stream of in-person programs. Where could we go next? what was next? We were all the way back to kind of examining our basic foundational goals and intentions. So I'll go ahead and go to our next slide. Identifying programming goals. After we had been closed for probably 4 or 5 weeks, and actually I think it was less than that, I was like, we're treading water right now. We're waiting for something to happen. We're waiting for something to change. But clearly this is not going to change anytime soon. And so I kind of went back, all the way back, rewound all the way to come back to my programming goals. And so first I kind of thought about it in the context of the library's mission statement, which I have included for you here. And I kind of chose to bold some of the words that really jumped out at me. Just looking at, what is it that we are called on to do? So I have the library's mission statement there, which is kind of what the city was hoping for and expecting from us. But I also kind of included my personal objective, which has been on every resume that I've sent out in the last 20 years, with my own kind of personal objective, which is to inform and inspire young minds through careful, comprehensive library service. Yeah, those first few weeks after we closed were really a time to kind of step back and say, okay, here are the things that we should be doing. How can we do that with what is available to us immediately right now? And so I, of course, jumped on the opportunity to create a word cloud from my mission statement. And this is kind of what I came up with. So here's kind of a good natural spot to kind of open it up for you guys to kind of give me your feedback. What words jump out to you here, and what words immediately come to mind for you personally when you think about what it is you wanted to do when you came to library work? What did you want to do? We're a small group, so please turn on your cameras if you're comfortable, unmute, tell me the things.
I'm not sure if it's a coincidence, but I love that it says build community. Having those words tied together.
Yeah.
As well as separate.
Hey, Jamie. It's good to see your faces. I like seeing your faces, guys. Kelsey, I know you're there. I'm thinking about you.
I didn't realize I was on already. When I started in libraries, I just wanted to help people, no matter what way that was.
And we're so uniquely able to do that in libraries. That's why it's such a great job. That's like the purpose. We want to help you. Yeah.
Hi there, this is Amanda. I started a couple of years ago at the Moose Pass Library as a volunteer, hoping to get to know the community a little bit better. I'm a fairly new arrival in the last few years, and we're a tiny community on the road with not much of a community center or gathering space. So I think it's really important that our library acts as that space, and I'm really hoping to attract more people through programs and other kinds of resources to really bring the community together, especially after the last couple of years. People tend to hole up here in their homes regardless, and it's become, even more reclusive in the last couple of years. So yeah, those are my goals.
After all that isolation, how do we motivate ourselves to get out there again and do it again? So I mentioned at the beginning that this is my first time actually using slides in a Zoom presentation. I can see that there's stuff in the chat and I'm afraid to click on it because then I'll be away from my slides and I won't be able to get back to it. So if there's something cogent in the chat, somebody jump in, just say it. Like I said, we're a small group. It's not going to bother me if you guys just jump right in and present with me. So Amelia, is it something we can share in the chat, or is it just other stuff?
It's not much. It's just one person apologizing for being late. And
No
I
worries.
said I was glad she's here.
Cool. Okay.
You are not missing anything important.
Don't let me miss it, Amelia. I need to know.
Sarah,
Okay.
I'll let you know if there's anything in the chat.
Okay, cool. Good. Thank you. Did you have something else, Jamie? Okay. I don't hear anything else. So I'm going to keep going. So yeah, based on this cloud of words, that kind of led me into these like new immediate right now goals. Using the resources that are available to us right now, I want to provide opportunities, I want to increase people's access, and I want to build community. And that was kind of, like I said, that restarting point for me in April of 2020, wanting to say, okay, what do I have right now? And how does that help people? So the things I had available to me right now in April of 2020 were a Facebook page that we never used, ever. Again, we had this kind of fear of any kind of interaction or advertising because we were afraid it was going to bring more people to already overextended resources. I had social media we never used. I had a whole bunch of paperbacks that were just looking for good homes. We would do these huge orders through Scholastic to give away as summer reading prizes. So I had a bunch of paperback books. I had a whole room full of craft supplies and kits and leftovers from story time. I thought about including a picture of that room for you right now because one of our big projects while we were closed, we're going to reorganize this youth services workroom. And we did. It has since fallen back into its normal state of chaos because that's just kind of how craft supplies go. I had storytime supplies. I had shaker eggs, I had scarves, I had music that I desperately wanted people to be able to use and enjoy. And we had the Alaska Digital Library. Those were the immediately available resources. And so with those resources, now it was time to kind of fit those pieces together. And in order to do that, we really started looking at who our partners were. So kind of the first thing that we thought was, well, we've got all these paperbacks. Who do we know that's actively going out into the community right now to provide a service? Who's going to people where they are? And that took us to Kids Cupboard. Kids Cupboard was one of our partners every summer for meal service. They serve meals outside in the library amphitheater every summer. We are the most popular distribution site because people would come and have their lunch and then enjoy the library. Kids Cupboard began a mobile delivery service in April of 2020, and this is kind of a screen grab from our Facebook page. You see the date there. Yeah, we gave them all those paperbacks. We gave them a box for adults and a box for kids, and it went out with all their delivery trucks into the neighborhoods. So when people came to grab their food from Kids Cupboard, they also got a book that they could keep, they could share with somebody else, they could move it on in another way. Finding new ways to use our existing partners really became a big deal. And we had tried other things with Kids Cupboard in the past. You know, we did lunch delivery in the summertime. They don't do meal delivery here during the school year because we are immediately adjacent to the middle school and they have to be so far away from other food distribution sites. The middle school is too close. But one thing we did do with them was after school snacks during the school year for our middle school students who are walking down here anyway, which, you know, mixed reviews on that. We gave away some food, but the idea was that the kids would kind of hang out and play games and be a little bit more contained than they are in the library at large because they can get up to some major hijinks in the library at large. But finding this new opportunity with Kids Cupboard was really special, and we got so much good feedback. We gave away a whole bunch of books. And you know, some of those books were things that we had left over from summer reading, but some of them were from our friends group. Friends donations have been so extreme here that we actually have 3 storage units full of book donations that our friends maintain and use at their book sales. And so finding a new way to get those books out to people was something that we were all really excited about, and it went really well. The next thing that I kind of looked at was, and I don't think I made a slide for it, but we did start doing some stuff through our Facebook page. And I mean, this is the screenshot here is our Facebook page. We did start doing weekly posts of stories, songs, craft ideas using materials people already had in their homes. When we started doing curbside service, we put a lot of our craft supplies into bags to send home with people just in case they didn't have scissors and glue and things like that, construction paper that they wanted to use with their kids at home. So we did start using social media to start connecting and start engaging and interacting with people that way. The next step was to get in touch with our school district. And, in the past, really, the school district would see me once a year in May when I was coming to talk to them about summer reading. They would bring their kids to me. I would go visit their schools. We were together. So we started to think, what is a way that people can feel engaged and connected with us without having to be physically here with us? And I had forever been wanting to do a bookmark contest, and thus it was. We sent out information to the teachers and said, hey, this is open to all the students here in the Mat-Su Valley, and we would really love to see your artwork. Make us a bookmark. We will print it and make it available to the public. These are just a few. We have now been through 2 bookmark contests, and the art just gets more and more awesome. I think the third one there with the genres on it is from this year. So now every September we do a big bookmark contest, and we usually get 250 or more contributions from the different schools around here. And determining which ones are going to print is not easy, but it's a very worthwhile task. And it actually has been really enjoyable for our staff to see this kind of love from the community. It also put us into touch with a lot of families and students that weren't using the public library before. One kid submitted a bookmark with a beautiful blue and green dragon on it and the words Barnes and Noble. Because to him, that's where you go to get books, not the public library. We did print his bookmark, although we did crop out the words Barnes and Noble with his permission, because but that, I mean, even that experience is kind of eye-opening. There are a lot of people out here who don't know what we do, even though we continue to grow. We continue to make more cards for people. We continue to see more and more people coming in. We're extremely busy right now. And as we kind of come into a time when we're going to start trying out in-person programming again, it's only going to get busier, but there's still so many people that don't know what we do. And so this provided a really necessary chance for us to get out there in the community and say, this is who we are. We really want you to come hang out with us. We have a bunch of free stuff. Please take care of it though, naturally. And the bookmark contest led to other good contests. We did a Young Writers contest, which we've done a couple of years now, and we are actually in the midst of our second comic contest. And those contests led to even more fantastic engagements with students. Here is a very nice little piece from Inara, first grade, Howling in the Dark, one of our spooky story winners from a couple of years ago, with, of course, illustrations, because those are an important part of a story. And one of our comics that we loved from last year, so creative. Tapping into that boundless creativity with the kids has been such a special part of it. And with the bookmarks, we go through the whole deal with them once they submit it and we accept it and decide to print it. I send them an artist release form so that they feel like they are professional artists. I had one mom tell me that her daughter fully expects to be on display in a gallery someday because she is an artist and she has signed release waivers and she knows what professional artists do. Yeah, we had these great engagements from the students, but it also led to some super cool partnerships. The Mat-Su Valley Frontiersman publishes all the winning stories from our spooky story contest. So that's a major piece of community visibility right there, is getting this activity out there for people, and then for the kids to have the extreme pleasure of seeing their name in print. And also for our comic contest, we connected with our local comic book shop, and they're partnering with us again right now. Our deadline actually is April 1st for the current comic contest, which is going on. And we, with the students' permission, publish their artwork to our social media and make it available for people to see here at the library, as well as at the comic shop. So kids get pretty excited about that. And so from there, the other thing that we're hoping to start up possibly in April is a poetry contest, with the idea that we will collect the best poems into kind of a chapbook or a zine that we can publish here in the library, and people can take one home with them and read some cool poems from some cool kids. All of these programs, really the bulk of the output that it took from me was creating an entry form and promoting it and finding those partners who are willing to step in and enjoy it with us. And then, the staff, our staff has loved looking at these things and trying, the pressure of trying to choose the best one is never great, but it's kind of a nice spot in their workday where really they just get to focus on how much people love us and love writing and love literature and love being connected to us, which has been really, really special. So kind of the natural progression from there with these partnerships is, well, how do we begin to bring our partners in for summer programming? For our summer presentations, we really relied a lot on presenters from out of state or people who are traveling up or traveling through to kind of come in and provide some new and unknown content for people, when really there's a huge amount of wonderful and known content here in the Valley already. So last summer, a couple of the partners that came in and worked with us for Paint Nights with Sarah and company, who came and did kind of a painting offering. Of kids actually still have the things that we painted with them here on the desk. Here's my, it's kind of just a little wooden thing that came out. And then also my bookmark, which needs a ribbon. It's been sitting on my desk since last August and it still needs a ribbon, which tells you a lot about my desk right there. There's stuff sitting on it from last August, and I'm okay with it. We also brought in the Alaska Wild Bird Rehabilitation Center, who brought a beautiful hawk to visit the library on a very rainy day. We did do all of our programming exclusively outside last summer. So we were all kind of huddled under the shelter outside my office and enjoyed some time with the hawk. The presenter was really worried that the bird was going to poop. And I was like, we're outside and it's raining. It's going to wash away. It's okay. We know that animals poop sometimes and it's all right. Sometimes people do. Hopefully people don't in my sheltered area. Yeah, we kind of started looking at who is local and who can start being a part of this with us, which kind of takes me up to Read Beyond the Beaten Path. What does it look like for this summer? Who are the partners that we would really love to see engaging here in the community this year? And this section is definitely a brainstorming session. I've got a few slides with some of the ideas that we are working through, but I would love to hear kind of what you're excited about for this summer and who some of the partners are that you haven't necessarily worked with before or not worked with much before that could potentially really add something to your program. So one of the things that I've really been thinking about, and I kind of picked this up in one of iRead's sessions, and it is weekly experience drawings instead of object drawings. And I started thinking about all the cool things that are out here in the Valley that kids would really get a kick out of. Be the DJ for an hour at a local radio station is maybe my favorite. I still would love to be the DJ at a local radio station for an hour. Maybe I'll get them to like make it a double deal where I can come in and play library music for an hour and inspire people. What is library music? You guys can message me later. I'll tell you about it. So experiences, working with local radio stations. We have an Alaska Baseball League team throughout the first pitch at a game. one-on-one time with a local athlete or one of the local gear shops. We have a great bike shop, a ski shop. We have a lot of mushers that live out here in the valley. That would be a super cool experience for a kiddo. And that kind of got me thinking again about who those partners are that could really make this a super fun experience for kids. And so, yeah, kind of my thinking is that, if kids are coming in and visit the library during that week, they can put their name into one of these experience drawings and potentially get something super cool out of it that they get to go and do. And then I also kind of had a screen of potential partners that we're looking at for who might want to come and do a presentation here at the library. I love the theme Off the Beaten Path. I like kind of the campy theme, and I'm definitely a theme person. I know a lot of people are moving away from themes. For me, it helps me kind of narrow my focus and find stuff to work with. So some of the partners that we're looking at, Eagle River Nature Center, talking about outdoor safety with the kids. And that could also be something that we could get from maybe a scouting group or a campfire group. Orienteering and geocache. There are a couple of very active groups located out here and in Anchorage. Maybe we can set up an orienteering map here locally right around the library. Museum of Science and Nature, National Park Service, Cooperative Extension. This morning, MJ was talking about Illustrating Alaska, and Wasilla is actually proud to be hosting that this summer in conjunction with our museum. So we're going to do a lot of programming, partnering with the Wasilla Museum to highlight the Illustrating Alaska exhibit and bring in some of our great local authors and illustrators. Chad Carpenter of Tundra lives here in the Valley and is pretty visible. So we'll probably have him in and a few other people as well. So yeah, that's the bulk of my presentation. We have about 8 to 10 minutes left, and I would love to hear kind of what your thoughts are on reconnecting with those objectives, but also what you're thinking about as far as your summer reading program goes and how you might want to incorporate bringing in local partners to build that enthusiasm in your community.
Hey, Sarah, I'm going to interrupt for just a second.
Mhm.
Apparently, I messed up the Zoom room and it required a password. So that's why there were more people who wanted to come that actually got in. So if you get like an influx of people right now, it's probably because they now all have the password and they're going to might be popping in. So I am very sorry to everybody.
It's okay, Kate.
Continue
bring
on.
it in. Okay. All right. Well, I'll look forward to that flood of people. I'm so sad that we missed some of them, but yeah. Let me know what you're thinking about for your programs.
I just have a question for the team. I'm new to the library world and I haven't put on any in-person summer reading programs or brought in any partners so far. There's quite a few groups down here on the peninsula who I have ties to who I'm sure would be happy to come and put on a small chat for kids or people of all ages, like the National Park Service, the Forest Service. But I'm wondering what folks have done to incorporate themed reading into those kind of tangible activities. How can we tie books to these topics? And I'm wondering if anyone has any input on how that's worked for them in the past. What's most successful to get kids reading at the same time?
I'll kind of jump on it first. I think for me, one thing that we try to do is have a table of related books very nearby that presentation area. A lot of times when we bring in additional partners to give a presentation, many of them are familiar with working with children, but many of them are not. And so really what we want to do is set everybody up for success. And in order to do that, that might mean that we would read a quick book and then introduce somebody who has something to do with this book, depending on the age level of the kids that we're working with. Or it might be one of those things where I just say, hey, we're super excited to have the fire department here today. You might have seen these guys driving around. They're super busy keeping us all safe. We're going to let them show you their gear. And if you have any questions or want to get books for more information at the end, here's a table of books you can check out. It doesn't, you know, I think sometimes as libraries, people expect there's going to be a read aloud at every single thing that we do. When in reality, that's not always what happens. And it's not always the best scenario for everybody. We share information of all kinds. It doesn't just have to be book information. It can just be life information. But yeah, having that table of books to kind of keep that relevant level there is always a good idea. Does that kind of start to answer the question?
Yeah, I like that idea. And if anyone's particularly interested in these topics, that gives them an opportunity to dive a little deeper.
For sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. For those of you just joining us, I'm so glad you're here. I can kind of try and give a little bit of a recap. I've been talking for 25 minutes, but I'm glad you guys are here with us now. I can recap it a little bit. Basically, kind of what we talked about is recentering yourself, looking back at mission statements, either personal or from your library, to kind of refine what it is that you want to do in your programs and for your people. For me personally, what I really want to do is inspire and inform people. I want to help them build connections. First, community, first engaging with us as the library, but also feeling connected to other parts of their community. Hey, Marguerite.
Hey, I'm sorry. It's so hard what I did right here. But I do have a question. I'm not really familiar, but I think we would love it in Nome with the Geocache Alaska. Will they actually sort of work with you to go around and do something like that? Or how can they partner with me to help me get something like that started?
So one thing that, and this is kind of in my preliminary brainstorming, a lot of these people, I'm just in the beginning stages of reaching out to them to find out what's possible. And I think for a lot of these groups, they also are coming off of a long isolation and a long period of dormancy, like we are. And Geocache Alaska was one of them. I couldn't find much evidence that they had updated their website very recently, but I mean, they did have a really good frequently asked questions page. And I think that they're open to, I suppose it could be like a virtual presentation where you talk about what it is and then kind of build from there. Arctic Orienteering, I know, has created like orienteering courses out in the Valley for other groups. And so that was one that I was like, oh yeah, we should see what can be done on a super simple level for kids here at the library, because we do have a really nice path and a nice area around our building. And I will say that like these presentation partners definitely are specific to my area, but I think you'll find that you have a lot of similar groups near where you are. And cooperative extension especially, I know when I was up on the slope, they were always looking for ways to support us and provide information. With them specifically, I was thinking about like camp cooking. I know that they've put out brochures that talk about like what you can cook easily with kids while you're camping. We'll probably have like a make your own trail mix station and stuff like that. But again, safety. Do I really want to put a bunch of dishes of open food out for children right now? Probably not. But it's something that could potentially be easily recreated at home, or I can give sealed packets of things to kids to take home and then put together at home. But yeah, I think, especially with geocache and orienteering, I think even just kind of checking out their websites to find out what they're about and looking at those frequently asked questions pages kind of, for me at least, was a jumping off point for, okay, here's maybe how that could translate to the library.
Perfect, thank you. I know we do work with our park service because they have junior rangers, so we're already doing that, and our tribal organizations. And actually, I didn't ever really think about our Girl Scouts, but that would be another thing. So I'm happy you gave this list.
Yeah, a few years ago, I think it's actually 10 years ago, I think in 2012, instead of doing the statewide theme, we actually did a camping theme 10 years ago. So I had already generated a lot of stuff. And we used to have a group here in the Valley called North American Outdoor Institute. And their whole purpose was doing safety, outdoor safety and survival with kids. And I mean, I'm sure that I Survived is just as popular at your libraries as it is at mine. Especially for some of those middle grade kids thinking about, you know, survival and what would I do if this happened to me is always a draw. I think scouting groups are kind of uniquely situated to do that. And actually, when I had a meeting with our museum yesterday to talk about illustrating Alaska, and we were talking about like a great Eagle Scout project would be to come and do a safety presentation at the library. So if you have Eagle Scouts coming up, that might be a really cool way for them to create a project that would be lasting and useful in their community. What else? What else do you guys think? And again, we're just kind of at the brainstorming section of the session. So anything you guys want to share related to, you know, your current programming goals or personal goals in your work, along with ideas for ways to include community partners, is very welcome. And maybe at this point, for those of you that are coming in a little bit late, I'll back up a little bit just to kind of show some of these other screens, especially with kind of the brainstorming stuff of what we were kind of thinking about for ways to get more partners involved with both experiences for our kids and also presentations and information. Sharing that information. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and take it to my contact information. This is my desk line here at the library. You will get directly to me if you dial this number. You've been warned. And also my email address. For those of you who watch this on the video later, please absolutely contact me. I love to hear from you guys and connect with you and share ideas. We all get better when we share what we have. So I'm always really excited to hear from you and hear what's going on at your libraries and maybe kind of generate some ideas for what you would like to see happening or do at your library. How are we doing on our timeline, Amelia and Kate?
So it's 1:45.
I think there's a refresher break coming up. For those of you that aren't sure what these refresher breaks are, I went to the one before this session and it was a dance break. And we danced to an awesome video by Fitness Marshall on YouTube, which was great. And really these refresher breaks are just kind of a chance to shake it out, loosen up, regroup, and be ready for the next session. So I think MJ is hosting one of those right about now. If you want to kind of check in there and see what she's got going on. Thank you very much to those of you who chimed in. I really appreciated the chance to share what we have and to also talk with each of you a little bit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. It's great.